Well, I hope that went smooth. That's one of the hardest things to learn how to do. But once you learn how to thread this machine, you can thread almost any sewing machine because it's all the same. They all have the same elements. So until you get to a serger, which is impossible. But anyway, okay, so you are ready to sew. You have both of your threads. Trying to figure out the best angle here. We'll try that. Okay, so both of your threads are on top, and you want to start with your presser foot up, remember, up, and your needle up. And I'm just going to show you how to do this. I'm really not sewing anything other than just a stitch. But you put your fabric between the base of the machine and the presser foot, and then you turn your needle until it's down through the fabric. You put your presser foot down, and then you just put your foot on the foot pedal until it starts to move. What you want to do with your hand is just guide the fabric. You don't want to pull it from behind. You don't want to push it. You just want to guide it. So you're kind of letting the machine move the fabric with the feed dogs that are underneath, and you're just guiding it to keep it straight. And straight being, you know, wherever you want it to go. What you usually do when you're sewing and you start is to go back a few stitches, and that kind of secures it or anchors that. And then when you're at the end, you do the same thing, a few reverse stitches. So I'm getting to the end, go back, and I'm just lifting up off my foot. And so let's take a look at what we've done. I want to lift up the presser foot, make sure the needle is at the very top, and I just pull. I told you before that this little button on the side had a blade. This is to cut the fabric, so you can just put, you know, just go like that, and it cuts the thread. So this is what it looks like. This is where we back stitched a little bit, but that's what we did. Now we want to make sure that it's not real loopy on the top or the bottom. If so, we would need to adjust the tension, but this looks pretty good. If we look on the back, that looks pretty good too. Might be a little bit tight, but it's okay. That looks pretty good. When you're sewing something like from a pattern or whatever, you want to practice the stitch on something first so that you don't like get some real expensive fabric and start stitching and it pulls all the fabric into the sewing machine and like eats it up. And then your fabric's ruined and you have to go buy new fabric or something. So practice on another little piece of the fabric that you're actually going to sew with before you start. Okay? All right. So now I'm going to show you, if I can get this sitting here, I'm going to show you what this looks like if I turn this from, say, 3.5 up to 6. I'll show you that it's going to be a longer stitch. Longer stitches are used when you want to gather fabric. Or when you just want the stitch to look bigger. Okay, so I again started with lever up, needle up, and then put the fabric underneath, put the lever down, put the needle down. And now I'm ready to go. I'm gonna do a little back stitch. See, it's moving faster because the stitches are bigger. And I'm just guiding it. I'm not pushing it, I'm not pulling it. Very gently, just sitting my hand on the top and guiding it. Back stitching. Putting the needle up, foot up, pulling it out, cutting the thread. And now you can see here how these stitches are much bigger than this stitch. So it looks better when it's smaller. We'll put it like on 3.5 again. But that's how you sew. So what I would like you to do is I have a sample for you that just has some lines on it. And I want you to just start and try to keep it on the line by guiding it with your hand till you get to the bottom. And just practice a little bit and see how it goes. If you want to turn the tension a little bit, you can. Or not the tension, the stitch from, 2 to 6 or whatever, just to kind of see what happens and see how that goes. Yay! Have fun!